So I'm gonna record this because I've never spoke on it. And I know what everybody is thinking. He looks like a real estate agent. The truth is, I grew my beard out because I'm fat. So, direct the attention up here. So, a little bit of a backstory. I'm in my 4th year of real estate. Recently new to the Hardy Group. For 3 years, I was with FC Tucker Carmel, and I worked under Kyle Morris, who I believe just won the Good Neighbor Award for National Association of Realtors. And I think the year previous was Paul Wyman, right? So I worked for him for 3 years. He's actually, Kyle's the one who took a chance on me. I'm extremely nervous. I have spoken in front of hundreds of people regarding certain subjects, and I've never spoken on this. But I am super grateful for the opportunity. So a little bit of a more backstory. I'm also involved in 2 organizations that do community work, and I'm blessed to be a part of those. You know, there's a lot of stigma around a lot of things. And for a long time in my life, I was stigmatizing myself. I told myself I couldn't do this, told myself I couldn't do that, and I manifested that. Man, it's so tough. I don't want to pat myself on the back here, but I did do a solid semester of college in criminal justice. The reason that bears a resemblance is because I was in full-blown active addiction when I was attempting to become a sheriff in Marion County in Indianapolis. And, you know, I felt like I didn't have a shot to do anything. And I wanted somebody to look at me and take a chance on me. So I went through 17 years of active addiction, resulted in me being homeless for the year of 2015. And I told everybody at this nearby bar and grill that I was staying behind the gas station. They were like, "Oh, you're over on, you know, whatever street." And I was like, "No, if you come behind the gas station, I'm asleep there on 6 milk crates lined up." And I just remember feeling in that moment that my life was over. I would never amount to anything, just like I was told when I was growing up by my dad. My dad was also an addict and an alcoholic. But my dad always used the excuse that he went to Vietnam, and that's why he did that. And my father-in-law is a Marine. A lot of people don't really know me here in town. A lot of people know my wife very well. And her name is Morgan Vetter. Well, now it's Morgan Odom. So, for years, I've always held a full-time job and done real estate and participated in organizations. And we have identical twin boys. And I took a lot on my plate, kind of coming into recovery. And there's some things that I can't commit to now. But I am honored to be on the Mission United board, or committee, sorry. Homelessness is huge, and I've got some statistics and some numbers, and I appreciate Heather doing the packet. So the big one is, Indiana is ranked number 24 in homelessness. There are 482 homeless households, which is more than a quarter. And these numbers were from 2018. 2016, there was 190.1 ER visits due to opioids. In Howard County in 2018, 130 homeless, that included 4 veterans, 10 juveniles, 12 adults battling substance use, and 10 adults battling severe mental illness, and 7 that were victims of domestic violence. NPR said in 2022 that 70 to 75% of people with an addiction would go on to live in recovery and live better lives. I have been in recovery and I've been sober for 6.5 years. And in my 6.5 years, I've had 45 people pass away that were close to me. Over 10 of those were veterans. And these were guys that I shared the rooms with. And I was working for this auto detailer down in Carmel. And my wife was living in a rental here in town. That landlord is here today. And that landlord took a chance. So we wanted to move closer to my job. And we started calling around to all these apartment complexes and trying to seek out private landlords. And after about the 3rd time, you just get discouraged. And you're like, here we are. You know, we don't have a chance to grow and to move. And so we started, number 4 apartment complex that we started calling, we were like, hey, we're felons, we're in recovery. I didn't mention that in the beginning, I'm a 3-time felon. A lot of the things that I get to do today, I told myself I would never get to do. And so we started calling around and asking them, do you rent to felons? You know, and trying to explain, yes, we're in recovery and here's where we're at. And he was like, let me stop you right there. Absolutely, will I never rent to you. And to have that kind of recourse of all these people saying, I never rent to you, I'll never rent to you. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. So we took to Facebook and we make this extravagant post. Well, hers was a little bit better written than mine. And so I piggybacked off of that. And we started getting contacts from RTV6, Rafael Sanchez, Fox 59, and they wanted to pick this story up. And Kyle Morris, who I worked under for 3 years, went down to an event downtown Indianapolis and shared this post with other realtors and different various people in the room. At that time, Senator Jim Merritt picked up on it and he approached Kyle and he introduced him to 2 ladies who have created this grant. And this grant was finalized 3-4 years ago. It came across Eric Holcomb's desk and he signed off on it, and Suzanne Crouch signed off on it. And we thought we had just gotten somewhere. And if you go on the website, it tells you, you know, contact this person for a list of landlords. And you call that person and you get passed down to this person. And then this person, there were no landlords taking a hold of this. Essentially, this is a safety net. But why this matters, the grant is awesome. It is amazing. But some of the things you wish that you could kind of amend a little bit. To be eligible, you have to have 1 felony on your record. In regards to substance use disorder, you have to obtain no new charges for a year. As a person who struggled with substance use disorder, when I was homeless, I was invisible to everybody except law enforcement. And I just thought, like, no new charges for a year. See, in addiction, we wake up with this poverty mindset. What do I need to do in order to get what I need to get to feel normal? Who do I need to get over on? So that was the way I lived for a year. And I was running for a long time with a warrant on me. I saw my mother drive past as I'm standing out there holding a sign, trying to get food. And I had no idea, but a lot of my past was I did things to my parents because I was not me, I was the drug. And so my stepdad was in the car with her, and he called the cops. The cops pulled up on me, and they were like, "You're under arrest." And I was like, "You don't even know my name." He was like, "All right, what's your name?" I said, "Sean." He said, "Yep, you got a warrant. You're under arrest." Took me to jail. In that moment, I was so happy that I was in jail. I got food. I got to work in the kitchen. I got a bed. I didn't have to be exposed to the elements. That's one of the huge barriers that a lot of people in addiction have. Now here is a lot different than Marion County. Here, City Hall actually opens up its doors. And you guys have a solid Kokomo rescue mission here. The mission down in Indianapolis, which is Wheeler Mission, you get to stay there 7 nights out of the month. And then they put you out on the street early in the morning, come back to dinner time, and if we're not full, you can get in. So it's this constant race to try and get into a mission to sleep inside at night. And we had some really brutal winters. 1 year of employment is another one. I don't know about you guys. I have never seen a successful addict in full-blown addiction. I haven't seen it. But I'm not saying that it's not possible. Because now that stigma has been broken down, a lot of people have become more understanding. I would have never thought when I was homeless 8 years ago that I would be in my 4th year of real estate. It's like, who goes from no house to selling people houses? A lot of what we see here is a lot of elderly people that are homeless. Did everybody in here did you get the chance to meet Brenda? So Brenda slept in her green Malibu out on the south side of town by the abandoned rallies. I got to talk to Brenda a couple times, and the Social Security, she got so much love from people on the streets, and she had a warm spot to stay, and she was comfortable with that. But there are a lot of people that I see that I resonate with that are not comfortable at all. Even up here, I'm a ball of nerves. This is the 45th time I've ever spoken in front of somebody. And it's ironic because I've lost 45 people close to me in addiction. And that's not a me thing. That's something greater than me. It's giving me goosebumps right now, the passion that I feel about recovery. A lot of the people that need this assistance may not be in good standing with probation or parole, but that's one of the requirements of it. Now, I do believe you can probably get past some of these requirements, but every time we ever got the phone hung up on our face, every time we ever got told no, it took me being in recovery for a couple of years to understand that no just meant not right now. But there were some landlords that we talked to try and get housing that were absolute no's. And I don't know how to make people feel where you can feel like you've been completely shut down. It is the worst feeling in the world. And we were so excited that when this grant took off, we were like, everybody's gonna latch onto it. And the way they structured it, nobody knew about it. You could go on the IN.gov site, you can go on SAMHSA, you can go on IHCDA and see about this grant. It's been there for years. Nobody's taken advantage of it. Last year, Kyle Morris bought a house that he listed in Anderson, completely rehabbed it, and decided that he would be the first landlord to accept this grant. I've had 2 clients that were friends of mine from Sober Living that I have had apply for this grant. But in my education with landlords, speaking over the phone, they got housed without having to use a grant. This grant is completely untapped. Now, my main goal was to come up here and talk about like why this matters. When you're looking at these numbers, and 7 out of 10 people might be successful, and then you see other numbers like relapse rate, 40 to 60%. So I kind of want to caution you on it, but I also want you to open up and kind of take a chance on somebody. Now, to my knowledge, this is going to cover some security. If that person falls back on their rent due to some kind of substance use disorder, that grant will assist in funds so that the landlord doesn't lose out. Early on, when I was educating people on this, I was like, man, this is perfect. Like if they skip out on you, the grant will cover the remainder, and that's not the case right now. When me and my girlfriend met, I should say wife, when we met, the landlord took a chance on her and gave her a place to stay. Was okay with me moving in with her. And when we moved in, we were still trying to expand. The only way for us to get housing after that was to buy our first home. Back then, homes were affordable, so was rent, and things have changed a lot. But I felt so good that there was somebody that was willing to take a chance. And I've passed that person's number out quite a few times, but we're only so limited on rental properties here. In Marion County, it's huge. It's, what can we come together? What can we do? And here, I've never lived in a town where they openly accepted recovery, where the probation department was like, there's a big recovery event going on in Foster Park, you need to go there. People are on house arrest are getting to go. I was on house arrest when I was in sober living. And that bracelet on my ankle taught me accountability. Me having nothing when I walked in the door taught me humility. But I'm only one person. I cannot contact each landlord and try to give them information on this and be willing to take a chance on somebody in recovery. Every hurdle I've ever been given in life, I've broken through it. I should not be involved in the things that I get to be involved in today. But I did that because I worked hard, and instead of going through some problems, I was growing through problems. But I'm also living proof to those that are in recovery and in active addiction that there is hope. To have landlords be able to do the same thing would really be awesome. We always talk about on Mission United how many homeless vets there are. In Jackson Street Commons, right? It's only so big. Now imagine if you as a landlord could get that safety net, get rid of that stigma in somebody's life, and that somebody might get to 6 years of recovery, they might become a real estate agent, they might get involved with the Freemasons, they might become a Shriner. Those are the things that I get to do today. Get involved in a committee, sit on the board of directors for Turning Point. I mean, these are things I should not be allowed to do as a 3-time felon. as somebody that was 17 years in active addiction. But I had to start somewhere. And my hope today is that you guys can start to take a chance on people and be the hope that somebody needs. Because a lot of our homeless people don't have anybody. They don't have family. Even if you stop and offer them something, just to give them that hope shot, give them a leg up. As of right now, I don't know too many. I know 2 landlords that rent to people that are like myself. But I just think Kokomo could break open that mold. The thing I would love to see is that in the future, people apply for this grant and they go, Kokomo is so nice. They have so many landlords on this thing. Especially with rent prices nowadays. And all I wanted to do was come up here and share some few numbers, and I'm grateful for Heather for printing off stuff. I've never spoken on this kind of stage. I've always spoken in recovery. I spoke for the Governor's Drug Commission. I did the Fix Opioid Epidemic exhibit. For all of you that have ever seen like Michael Hussein's documentary, he has one called The Addict's Wake that they did out of Brown County. And he also has one on reentry that me and my wife are in as well. So I get to do all this stuff because somebody took a chance on me and I was tired of giving up, and I finally gave in to what recovery had to offer. And then I had a place to stay. My hope is for you landlords to comb through this and check out all the information and make sure you got all your ducks in a row. But just be willing to open up to somebody. Because that somebody could be me. That's all I got.
Thank you, Sean.